He assaulted me with the chicken.
Yo, we depict the thumbs up as a
You just get spit right out of him.
as long as I have the queer community that sees me for my truth, I'm gonna be okay.
Come back.
We didn't have tornadoes here until we started putting into traffic circles.
Speed demons are a tyranny that's plaguing the streets of our city.
Because on the counter, you want to know why? That when people go round and round in circles, it causes disturbance in the atmosphere and causes tornadoes.
We need more cops to stop those speed demons.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. Pretty soon we're going to be calling this country.
Unbelievably stupid.
I might not be in the mood to deal with white shenanigans that day. That's all I'm saying.
We need to go back to like taking women out of the workforce.
Surround yourself with smart, talented people.
Well, you ain't seen nothing, my friend, until you have a flame coming out of your butthole and you need an asbestos diaper to be able to keep that flame from burning a hole in your pants.
My wife had my weed in their purse, and the mother cops took it. It was only like 4 grams, but it was really good weed.
Yeah, man, you just an unlucky dude.
Don't hate on prostitution, because guess what? It's been going on since before humans, man, and you don't even know about it.
Now I'm gonna wrap it up.
I quit this bitch.
On a big station. Rock 1069.
Bye.
We need to put women back in the kitchen.
Have a great Friday, you motherfucker.
Welcome to Friday morning on the Stansbury Show on Rock 1069, online at WRQK.com. If you missed yesterday's program, anything this last week, month, year, all those shows posted right there. You can also find me on your favorite social, The Stansbury Show, and the studio's reachable, 330-450-7625. You can text or call that. The toll-free call option is 800-243-7625. There's the microphone talkback button on iHeartRadio. I think that's all the ways to communicate with me, right? Like 11? I think that's enough. That feels like enough. That feels like enough of those, right? Oh, no, I guess there is the email, stansbury@WRQK.com. You want to go old school there. Snail mail the studio, 7755 Freedom Avenue Northwest there. I think 720 is the zip if you decide you want to send a letter to my boss to tell him to fire me there. It seems more popular these days for people to do that via social media. He sent me a few of those this last week. He's like, look, they hate you again. So he always says to me, he's like, look, they hate you. I don't know what you did. He's like, but they hate you again. So he sent me a few of those. We got a lot planned for you this morning, including we'll get to Scott from waitingfornextyear.com. Normally on the air with us on Monday. We were going to move that to Thursday. We both had a little bit of a scheduling issue in his playing career. And so we'll talk about the contrast of that. We'll get to that this morning. Actually, we're going to have to talk quarterbacks a lot today. As Aaron Rodgers was a big topic of conversation on the show yesterday. Heard it, or maybe you checked out the podcast. Aaron Rodgers back in 2013 didn't come off as all that hard to believe. Now, what would be hard to believe would be what? Well, sitting on that story for 10 years is the suspicious part, right? We brought that up in the conversation yesterday. Aaron now, I spent more than a few minutes on the accusation yesterday, probably should spend more than a few minutes on him defending himself today. So we will do that. He on loan from waitingfornextyear.com. You can find him at WFNY Scott on your X platform. We're also going to try to take a look at what scientists are now telling us is the worst part of the day. I'm guessing a lot of you never even have to see this part of the day, so we'll get to that and what the worst part of the day is. Now, I said we're going to have to talk quarterbacks a lot on the program today, and we are, because Deshaun Watson is out there making enemies on social media, and those enemies are crying about it. Now, I don't think you're going to love the answer, but we'll get there. 7 a.m., that polling from the Canton repository there. All right, man, things are not going all that well in Berea thus far. Although this really isn't about Berea. This is about social media. I'm not sure this is a full-blown story here, if I'm honest. But a lot of people wanted to see Joe Flacco return to the Cleveland Browns. Almost $5 million guaranteed was going to, right? Also different playing styles between Deshaun and Flacco. I said this a couple of times yesterday, and I think it does need to be pointed out because people are losing their minds here. If the season goes the way we want it to, the backup's not playing. So that's what made all of this just kind of silly, right? Now, I've said about Deshaun, I believe he can get the play style back. I believe he can play solid quarterback again. Top 5, I think it's a different conversation, but I think he could be damn good again. But I've said, I don't know about between the ears all that much. And I worry there's a little Kawhi Leonard. Well, like I'm 89% and I should play, but nah, let's wait until I'm 130% and then I will play. Like I worry he's a little Kawhi Leonard like that. Welcome to the new era athlete. I mean, just welcome to it. I mean, that's kind of the way it is now, right? There's more and more of that in all professional sport. But people have insinuated that Deshaun could be a little soft. That he doesn't like criticism. Okay, well, I'm going to stop here because people tell me I don't like criticism sometimes, and their criticism is, you effing suck, I hope they fire you. That's not criticism. I heard that this morning. I wasn't sure about this, and like that, I feel like you could have done a better job of that. Why do you ever do this? How come where's this? That is critiquing and criticism. You effing suck is just pure hatred. That's not criticism. Like, don't get mad at people because you don't know what the definition of words are, right? Like, that's kind of crazy. But people have insinuated that Deshaun does not like criticism. And so apparently his team, I don't think this is him, his team that handles the social media, let's be honest, they're not on this stuff themselves all that much. Their teams are doing this. He probably has burner accounts he actually uses, but like the official account is probably, so you pay somebody to handle that for you, right? So they're out there blocking accounts now. And plenty of people have got like Browns podcasts or Browns, X channels that are big and like they're doing spaces and they're doing all this stuff. And that's kind of the great thing about the internet, man, is everybody's kind of, picking up these conversations and having them in, a lot of different avenues and, venues and the like. It's great. It's amazing. But apparently somebody had said yesterday, I want Joe Flacco back in Cleveland. That's the tweet. And Deshaun's team blocked that person, who again is one of these people who spends all day talking about the Browns. Their entire online persona is about the Browns. They got a pod about the Browns. They got this. They're trying to make money while talking about these dudes. Which makes you what? The new media. Have you noticed in the history of athletes, they don't really love the media a whole lot. You want some proof? Go watch that Last Dance Michael Jordan documentary after his dad died, and everybody's talking about how that wasn't journalism's finest moment and how everybody was quick to talk about this without evidence and this and that. And then every athlete, you will go watch any document, screw athletes, go watch any documentary ever on anything. People tell you, the media got that wrong. The media, because there's, right? Like, so you're the new version of that. So thinking that they want to hang out with you, hold your hand and be best friends with you because you have a funny gif is ridiculous. It is. It's ridiculous. By the way, the tweet comes off as, you want Joe Flacco playing starter. You didn't say, I want Joe Flacco as a backup for the Cleveland Browns. You said you wanted him back in Cleveland, which is here. You'd rather have Joe. You didn't clarify. I still think it's a little, I guess if we're going to use this word, soft to block people. I wouldn't have done that. But you were not clear in the tweet. You weren't. And so he's under attack from this kind of stuff all day. His team is under attack because of all the allegations, some of the injury criticisms, a lot of stuff. And I know what everybody is thinking. That's what you get. Let me guess. Is it that money? Is that why? Is that why they should have to take every last thing that happens? Let me guess. It's the money, right? Well, damn. Look at that thing that does not matter. Showing up and mattering. A big deal. Well, would you look at that? Say it with me now. Say the line. Say the line. Money doesn't matter. All you need. But the moment somebody who gets paid a lot of money does something we don't like, no, you should have to deal with me because of the money. Now, I don't think you said anything wrong to the guy. I don't. But was this going to be taken as you prefer Flacco over Deshaun Watson? Yeah. Yeah, man. It was. And it would be. This is why some people have pointed out that this is why influencers get in way more trouble than other media types. Because you've had less training in it. It's okay. Doesn't make you awful. It just means you're going to step in it occasionally. And you're going to have to go, oh, you know what? Yeah, I forgot. People are going to misread things I do. I need to be very clear here. Very clear. It's terrible English. Transparent, right? And so you need to do that. I wouldn't have blocked this account. I wouldn't. But I told you about 6 months ago, if not longer, the movers and shakers of the world are tired of hearing the hate. They're tired of hearing everybody's opinion. And I predicted this was going to lead to less people being on social media. And I said, because when the movers and shakers aren't there as much or deny you access or don't let you comment on their posts, you're not going to feel as if it's an interactive wasteland the way it is now, and you may not enjoy that space as much. We're seeing some of that. Jordan back in the day said, he's like, do people just want to take shots at you? They don't even know you as a person. It's awful. It's terrible. And it made him want to pull back and give you less access. I believe as we go on, more and more famous people are going to adopt that model and look to pull back and give you less access. Because it's twofold. They get more of their life back. And it makes you want to know more. It makes you more interested. When do we get tired of everybody? Oversaturation. Notice nobody's bitching about Taylor Swift now because the entire media is not talking about how she's at football games. You don't care about Taylor Swift anymore. You're not mad about Taylor Swift anymore because the saturation point it's not there anymore. So she's back to just being like, all right, her music kind of sucks. I don't really like her. But the hatred's not there anymore. All the more reason most of these people should be going, you know what, dude? I need to be pulling way back here. Screw this. I need to be out in front of their eyeballs every minute of every day. Leave them wanting more. Used to be a huge part of entertainment. It's kind of gone now because, well, let's be honest, we turned that game into the 24-hour news game. And so everything's kind of being mixed together, kind of screwed up there. I don't like this look for Deshaun. But this guy says, I wish Deshaun Watson knew all the horrific things people have said to me while supporting him here. Maybe then he wouldn't have done this. I'm paraphrasing that last part. But he said, I wish he knew all the awful things that people have said to me while supporting him. Yeah, man, because people have said it to you more than they've said it to him. Oh, my God.
Kind of funny you can listen to him on your smart speaker.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
The Stansberry Show.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
On Rock 1069.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show. 8 a.m. we'll sit down and talk to Scott from winningfornextyear.com. He'll still be with us Monday as well, but there's been a lot going on. And we were unable to get to him Monday, so I figured, you know what? Let's get him on the air Friday. Screw it. So we'll do that at 8 a.m. this morning. I kind of want to talk to him about Jerry Jeudy a little bit. Everybody talking Flacco, everybody talking Deshaun Watson, including me, and everybody talking all that. But, man, I'm interested to see if Jerry Jeudy can help the Browns. Now, Mark Schlereth, who works at Fox Sports, calls the Denver games, played for Denver. And he said, he's like, good riddance to bad rubbish. He's like, there's 6 wide receivers who came out with that guy. They're all better than he is. He hasn't really panned out. So we'll see if is it a change of scenery that's needed for Jerry Jeudy? We've seen that plenty of times with athletes, right? Just find the right situation, a la Baker Mayfield, right? You get in the right situation. Next thing you know, you find yourself, all right, I found my rhythm. This is where I should be. I'm good. I don't know if Cleveland will be that place for Jerry Jeudy. We will ask Scott about that. We'll do that coming up at 8. All right. So I want to talk about Joe Flacco a little, though, because he has said something here that fans kind of love. He said, I want to play until it does get ugly. I want to get dragged off the field. That on the future of his career. It's interesting, first, for a guy that was already kind of semi-retired to say it that way. Right? Nobody was going to think about putting Joe Flacco on a roster this year unless the Browns brought him in, which, by the way, the entire league, media, and fan bases laughed at his age, laughed about the fact that we were pulling him off the couch, and laughed at the idea that he could be good. And now everybody's laughing because the Browns sent him away. Or upset about it. But he said, I want to play until it does get ugly. I want to get dragged off the field. Fans kind of love that, right? Stick it out. Rub some dirt in it. You're doing what I wish I could. You better wring it all out, man. Get every last bit out of that talent. Michael Jordan saw it completely different. I've been re-binging The Last Dance every night before we're going to bed for like a month. Because Jordan's one of those guys, dude, like, he can just kind of instill that confidence in you. And there's a scene in that where he's with Ahmad Rashad. And they're driving in his Range Rover. And they're going to the stadium, arena, to play. It's in the middle of one of his three-peats. I don't actually remember which one. But he's kind of talking about how he's done. Because he walked away from the game, I think it was maybe, before he got the third championship of his first run. And he's talking about this kind of mentality. And he goes, I hear guys talk about this all the time. He goes, I want to leave the court 2 years before my skills diminish. I want to go out on top. Now, I know we can bring up the Wizards conversation, and he didn't really do it. That's fair. But what he said was, I don't want to get... He said Patrick Ewing wants to be dragged off the court. He said, I heard Patrick say that. He's like, I don't get it. He's like, nobody's dragging me off anything. I'm walking off the court. Now, it's like, damn, which one of those statements is better, right? Because it's like, damn. They both kind of make sense when you just kind of put them on a picture of an athlete, and it's like the go-get-em motivation poster. Which one of those is better? Walking off is better. For sure it is. I think it's the difference between an athlete that got it done, meaning won championships, and an athlete that hasn't. Except Joe Flacco, yes, won a Super Bowl. But Michael was dominant. Joe Flacco didn't even get credit for his Super Bowl. He also doesn't have 6 of them. And so I think what's happening there is Jordan's like, I did it. There's nothing else I can do. Why would I stay around and just watch my skills just leave me and look like a shell of myself when I have done it? Not only I won 6 championships, I'm the face of the league. I think it's the difference in getting everything you wanted out of your career versus like, man, I may have missed a couple of windows. I don't want to put my career or my career field in this arena because they're not the same thing. But I'll tell you, my view on this has changed in the 20-some years I've been doing it. Early, gotta drag me out of here, man. Gotta drag me out. When behind closed doors, I've been telling everybody in my life for 2 years, the most important thing for me now is to be able to walk out. I don't want to get pushed out. It's happened to every guy I've ever known in the industry. They let him go out there and say, I'm going to go retire. That ain't what happened. They got pulled in the office and said, you can retire or we can fire you. Which one do you want? Most times that's what's happening. There have been people who have been given the opportunity. Most times they allow you to kind of go out there because they don't want to get yelled at from the audience about firing you. So of course they're going to let you go out there and tell everybody you're retiring. Most of those are forced retirements. I've told everybody in my life, I want to walk out before I get pushed out. That's all that's left. I've won everywhere. I won with Maxwell. I won with Matt. I won with Tony, and I've won alone. I've won everywhere. I know you may not think what I've done is winning. It is in my life. It absolutely is. So I feel I did it. I absolutely did it. The only thing that's left is to walk out versus being another one of those. Did you hear what happened to homie? Did you hear what happened to what's his name? Like, that's all that's left. And I think there's the difference in that mentality between, yes, Flacco has a championship. Yes, he does. And let's be honest, Super Bowls matter more than NBA championships. They for sure do. But it's 6 compared to the 1. And I think that's the difference in the mentality. Also, Flacco was never the face of the league. He was never the number one guy. He was never that. And I think once you're Michael Jordan and you have all of that on top of being the basketball player, get me out of this life. I think that's part of that conversation too. Let's not just dump on Flacco just to be doing it, and I'm not even trying. I'm just saying, I think there's a difference in mentality in these athletes, and you could take either one of those statements and put them on a motivation speaker or a poster, and people go, yeah, that's the way you should do it, man.
You're never too old for a good morning kiss. The Stansberry Show, Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show, Rock 106.9. Take another look at Joe Flacco's statements a little later in the program. Open at Belden, and they shut down. And, the newspaper interviewed the owner, and he was talking about how we don't have refined taste. And, he's like, they just, they're fat and lazy. They just want their Bubba's barbecue places, right? And all this stuff. And I remember thinking, I was like, dude, that's a tough look to blame everybody else, right? But then I saw this at CantonRep.com, the repository here. An obesity study was run on both the state and country. And it tells us, by the way, that 42% of the U.S. population is obese. 42. We're approaching half. That's scary. People show you this all the time. You'll see photos from back like the 60s and the 70s, and they're like, where are all the fat people? And it's like, well, we had fat people. For sure we did. You know what I mean? Like, not pretend Jackie Gleason wasn't on television, right? Like, we had fat people, but they weren't the bulk of us. Like, it is true, we have more of them now than we've ever had. Welcome to things that are being put in the food. Welcome to more eating out. Welcome to a lot of things that went into it. Jobs got easier. We walk less than ever. I mean, there's so many reasons that go into that, right? That number, by the way, that 42% of U.S. population is obese, is according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. That's up from 31% in 1999. Now, the estimated medical cost of obesity in the United States is $173 billion. And that's why a lot of people are anti-universal health care right there. That's why a lot of people are anti it. Because it's like, well, bro, you eating your way into cardiac arrest via, 2 for $5 cheeseburger. I'm not sure if necessarily people who are doing that should have to be paying for it, right? That's kind of how they view that. That's not what we're talking about right now, but that is a view people have. That number's from 2019, by the way, which I'm guessing it's probably more now. So apparently they got Wallet Hub to look into this, and they say certain places are more responsible than others for tipping the scale in favor of poor health. So what they did is they compared 100 of the most populated U.S. metro indicators of weight-related problems. So some of the fattest cities in the U.S., of course, this website's going to be problems. Scrolling down now, as I'm doing this for you here. So I have the Ohio cities. Cleveland is at the bottom of the list for Ohio cities. I would have been shocked by that. Right above it would be Cincinnati. They ranked in at number 42 in the country. Columbus clocked in at number 40 in the country. They're third from the bottom in Ohio. I think this is the top 9. Dayton, number 39 nationally. Toledo, number 33 nationally. Akron, number 32 nationally. Ohio, we got some work to do here, guys. Youngstown, this is fattest cities in America. Youngstown, number 20 nationally. And you guessed it, Little Chicago, baby. Number 18 nationally. And the fattest city in Ohio. That according to, again, the survey done by Wallet Hub. That's not great. It's also the least shocking thing I've ever seen. But that would have been true of any city I've ever lived in Ohio. Vegas, ironically with all the food, but it's a very, when I lived there, it was a very self-conscious city. Like people, I tell you, one of the reasons why I love Vegas is there's no line. looks matter, money matters, all that stuff. It's right there front and center in that city. That's what I like about it. Nobody's lying. And so I love that about that city, the transparency, the honesty there. I love it, right? But I would have guessed Cincinnati just because of our prejudices, right? Our biases. It's like close to Kentucky. I bet those fat double R's down there, right? Yeah, Kentucky's fatter than Ohio, right? I would have just assumed that. But Canton, I mean, let's be honest about this. You can't throw a football without hitting 15 restaurants. I remember saying during the pandemic and during all this stuff, everybody was telling me how bad everything was. I was like, why do I still need the red light up pager to tell me when my table's ready if everything's so bad? I was like, well, then I probably don't need the restaurant pager to tell me that I can go get my bloomin' onion now, right? Like that probably wouldn't be a thing. I can't be shocked Canton's the fattest city in Ohio, though, not even a little bit. And I can't be surprised that 42% of this country is overweight. First, you all tell the lie every day. We all do. I'm not yelling at you. Okay, but things about me. Until you hear it, and then it's the only thing you care about, and you melt down like a snowflake that you call other people, right? Like, there's that. But, like, we all lie and have these, pretend things about ourselves. There's also, I've been talking about this, the over-acceptance culture is wreaking havoc in society. There's a difference between making fun of a fat person and going, dude, I don't think we should be doing this, right? There's a difference in those things. But you fat shamed, you fat shamed. Shame is good. I keep trying to tell you that. I'm the Gordon Gekko of that. Shame is good because that's what used to keep people in line and stop them from doing things that they were ashamed of. But we got rid of that, and look how well it's going.
To all the teachers who said he'd never amount to anything.
That is correct.
Lucky guess. The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show, Rock 106.9, 9 a.m. We may dig Canton being the fattest city in Ohio back up. We may get back into that. But yesterday we talked about something, and I gave more than a few minutes to it, so I wanted to give more than a few minutes to the other side of the conversation. We let you know that Pamela Brown of CNN had told everybody that she had been covering the Kentucky Derby. They were at a post-Derby party. And hearing that she was a journalist with CNN, he immediately began attacking the news media for covering up important stories. Which sounds like Aaron Rodgers to me. That does. It kind of sounds like it. Now, I think we knew less about that back in 2013, and we know more about it now. And it's, socials have exploded much more since 2013, and more pods and more interviews he's done with his buddies and things like that. So that's probably why I feel that way. But I didn't really know what he thought about stuff back in 2013. At least I don't remember knowing that. So he apparently, according to Pamela Brown, started, attacking the news media for covering up important stories. He brought up the Sandy Hook elementary school shooting. Again, 20 children, 6 adults that died. And according to her, claimed it was actually a government inside job and the media was intentionally ignoring that angle of it. She questioned him, she claims, on the evidence to show that this very real shooting, obviously, right, had been staged, and he began to, according to her, sharing various theories that have been disproven numerous times. Now, some of those theories were the same things that got Alex Jones in some trouble, right? And Jones basically, had said, look, the 2012 mass shooting was staged and the families and first responders were crisis actors. And that, of course, now has led to multiple lawsuits and Alex Jones, having to pay some money from what I understand and all. So apparently Aaron Rodgers had said this to this woman. Now, I said yesterday I could see Aaron saying it because, this is kind of who he's turned into, so I can't be shocked this is who he was back in 2013. And I feel like sometimes this guy's gotten a little too much credit for going to Cal Berkeley, for anybody that may not know. I believe it's the University of California at Cal Berkeley. That's a good school. It's tough to get into Cal. You'll go, well, Aaron Rodgers played it. He went to Cal. It's like, no, he didn't. He played at Cal. Did Kyrie Irving go to Duke? No. Played at Duke in a total of 9 games. Right? Aaron Rodgers went to a junior college. And then when somebody saw him throw the football, they were like, do you want to pretend this dude's smart and put him in this place? Like, that's kind of what happened there. I think we need to be honest about that, right? Doesn't mean he's an idiot, but like, we lean on the he went to Cal thing for Aaron to excuse Aaron for some stuff a lot. And it's like, I don't know if that's really the reality of that. Now, the unbelievable part of this, or I told you, the believable part is that Aaron thought and said something crazy. That part's easy to believe. I have thought and said things that are crazy. So have you. So has anybody else. And Aaron has shown us that hand plenty of times. The part that's hard to believe is that a journalist from CNN had an A-list celebrity from the from this country's most popular sport. They had a quarterback telling them the Sandy Hook school shooting was staged. They're all crisis actors. And she kept that story to herself until now. That's the part I don't believe. You wouldn't believe how many times a week people will tell me something and they can see my face light up. And they go, don't put that on the air. Damn. Because that's our nature. We're in the wait till you hear this business. That's what we're in. You wouldn't believe how many times my girlfriend says that. Don't talk about that. Don't say that. I know. Because as soon as we get the thing that we think will move the needle, we're going to move that needle. Because that's what the fine print of the contract says. So I don't believe, you know what, I'll stop short of that. I find it hard to believe you had a bombshell story. And we're like, I'm not going to talk about that. That one seems a little like, really? I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Look at what happened to Aaron Rodgers with the vaccine. They didn't shut up about that forever. Kirk Cousins didn't do it. Nobody said anything about it because he wasn't running his mouth about it constantly. Like, Aaron's kind of been this guy, so I believe he says crazy things to people. Even CNN. Now, maybe, I guess you could maybe make that argument, right? It's like, Dan, he's not going to tell a reporter who he just told the woman he doesn't trust the media. He's going to turn around and tell her this. It's a good point, actually. Like, if you're going to tell a CNN reporter how bad the media is, aren't you just going to tell her that, turn around and walk away versus give her any more ammunition? Which, by the way, is a story, too. Hey, man, I was at the Kentucky Derby. I got introduced to Aaron Rodgers, and he told me my entire industry is filled with frauds. That's front page news, too. In 2013, it would have been. Maybe not now. Everybody thinks the media is trash now. But like in 2013, that would have been news. For sure it would have. So she just sat on this? That was always the part that was like, I don't know about that one, right? Like, that seems a little crazy. Aaron Rodgers wants to clarify this. And of course he does, because we were talking about a school shooting where children died. And I said yesterday, I would have to have it, and I mean